Live. So good morning. Good morning, Carlos. Happy Follow-Up Friday.
How are you?
I'm fabulous. It's a
It's
beautiful
Friday,
day.
babies.
Yes, it's a beautiful day
And it's
outside.
a busy day.
Yes, yes. Which location are you at? You in Olathe?
Yeah, I'm in Olathe.
I see the sign back there. How's your Friday going? Pretty good?
Yeah, it's going good. It's busy. I enjoy it. It's this real estate stuff is just getting difficult.
What are you running into? I'm sure it's no different than others, but what are you running into on your journey through this world?
It's tough. I mean, when you're new to the business, we have buyers. We have a lot of buyers, and we got some listings, and it's just we have a lot of buyers, and finding houses for people, it's super tough. I mean, just getting them. It's not the same as it was. So, you got to work real hard and smart, and you gotta be ahead of the game, and it's just not easy.
How are you managing your buyers' expectations with all these multiple offers, losing out? I mean, how are you kind of managing their expectations and also their enthusiasm for staying on the course?
Well, we just keep them. We got to keep them motivated, and we got to keep them, positive is the big thing. We got to, if you educate your people all the way, they'll stick with you. Yeah, they got to see that you're doing work for them. And you gotta see that they got to see that you're going over and beyond. Yeah. And you have to in this. We have an out-of-state buyer. One of our buyers was out of state. That is not easy. Because they can't go and look at houses. So guess what I'm doing? Guess what we're doing?
What are you doing?
We're out looking at houses for them and taking videos. Videos.
Nice.
So,
nice.
We're doing videos for them. We're out looking at the houses ourselves, searching. We're really going over and beyond for him. And he flew here one day and did some searching, and then all the other times it's via email and phone and text. It's just makes it tougher.
Yeah. I'm sure.
There's a lot of offers sight unseen.
Yes, you got to do that, right? You got to do that.
It's just tough. So you just got to work harder, and it's got to be. It's not easy, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating for the agent as well. Not necessarily just the client. It's the agent as well. It's frustrating.
What kind of follow-up is required with sending offers in? I mean, what kind of follow-up do you do when you're sending an offers in, especially in this climate and environment? What kind of follow-up are you doing?
Follow-up is just, I make a lot of phone calls. So, building up that relationship is big, even in selling. I make a lot of phone calls ahead of time. I make a phone call once I see the house. I look to see what's all in it and on it, and look at all the features. I call the agent, talk to them some more, and I look at the house. I do everything that I do just on steroids. I call them, and then I try, when we submit an offer, I call them again, let them know that, hey, I submitted an offer. Did you get it? Did you get everything? Does it all make sense? I talk to them about the offer. So it's a lot of phone calls and a lot of messages. It's just, and then I just follow up, and I just try to be on the same page with them as soon as I can. There's no more. There's such a delay in when people are looking at offers.
Yeah.
There's some offers that I got in first. I was the first offer in, but I still was, it still was a big delay on 3 days before they reviewed all of the offers.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so it's just tough. Got to build that relationship up with those people, those agents. That way they know who you are and how you do business.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it'll make the difference. You're right.
I know a while back, a few years ago, I talked to a room full of agents, and there were some people that were squawking at, why do you need to build up relationships with those agents? Well, nowadays is the time, is the reason why I said what I did.
Mhm.
You
You're
know,
right. You're right.
I said it a long time ago, and people didn't believe me, and now you should believe me.
Yeah.
I hope maybe they're watching this video, but now it's a good time to learn why you should build that relationship up, even with your competition.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, agreed. Absolutely. So, I thought we'd talk a little bit today about some success stories. I mean, I know I've shared with you some weird deals that came out of nowhere as a result of Followup. And, I thought we'd talk a little bit about, just share a couple of success stories associated with it. We know the cost associated with not following up, which we talked a little bit about last week. So I thought it'd be good to follow that up by sharing some success stories, that we've had, over the course of, recently, the years, whatever, just to reinforce the importance of following up and how it benefits us and stuff like that. So, I know I talked to you. I think I sent you an email, as well, of a person I had been called over a year, right? Remember that?
I love getting those emails, I mean, because it's true. You know what I mean? We started this over a year ago.
Yeah.
And the success of Followup is just amazing. You know what I mean? And it feels so good. That's just like, the flyers that I get. I handed out flyers when I first started in the printing business. Nobody knew who I was. Nobody knew who my business was.
Mm-hmm.
When I came here to Kansas, it was like starting all over. Like, you have no clue we have no clue who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And getting those, I had to get out flyers, knock doors, meet people, handed out flyers, postcards, all kinds of stuff. But your success with Followup, and a year later, somebody comes up and says, yeah, I want to do business, or let's refinance, that is just, I love it. I love seeing that, because it's so true, and we started talking about it, and it happens, I mean, you and I talked about it over a year ago, and then all of a sudden you had 2 or 3.
I had 2 or 3, I did. Yeah, they
2
were
or 3 of them right away. You know what I mean? And it's just like, you don't give up on those people. You don't ever give up on anybody you ever meet. And that's why I keep saying building that relationships up is huge, because that success makes you feel so good, and it feels so good for me to see that even like you getting 2 or 3 of them pretty quick, you'll get more. There'll be more.
I know, those are older leads, and like you said, no lead is ever dead. I know saying that no lead is dead. Never dead. Yeah. Yeah. It's just a matter of, how much times we touch it. And, that person was just not ready at the time that I was reaching out. When they finally were ready, I happened to call again, and now it was like, yes, I'm ready to go now, and so it was worthwhile making those calls and following up over the course of a year.
And staying in front of them, inviting them to places, even if they bought something, I even do that. I even stay in contact with people that have bought what I've been selling. If I'm selling real estate and somebody bought a house, I'll still stay in contact with them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Somebody has a listing that they're trying to sell, I'll stay in contact with them. You never know what they do. I ran into somebody that owned a daycare center, and then they used me for commercial,
Yeah.
They're using me for commercial right now, and it was somebody that I got from, one of my residential. It was a listing that they had, and I was trying to get their listing, and I didn't get it. But I stayed in front of them, and now I'm using them as, they have a daycare center, a big daycare, a lot of locations, and they just happen to own that house that I was trying to get that listing.
Hmm.
You just never know. Even if they bought what you're selling,
Yeah.
you got to stay in front of them.
Yeah, yeah, true, very true. I love the fact that because we've mentioned that before as well. How it's important to stay in contact. Especially existing customers, past customers, they might have a service that they need done that we can refer to someone else. Could lead to other business opportunities for some other people. We can create connections, and then that becomes a referral partner as well for us because we're sending things out to plumbers, general contractors, whatever. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of benefit from staying in contact. And then at some point in time in the future, they're going to move again, right? In our case, they're going to move again. They're going to buy again. They're going to print. They're going to need printing services. They're going to need insurance, right? They're going to, at some point in time in the future, they're going to need those other services and those other things. So yeah, by staying in contact and connecting is going to help benefit everybody in the ecosystem.
That's just like the insurance agents. Everybody, every single buddy. I don't believe in. If you meet somebody, you got to stay in contact with them and build that relationship up, no matter what they've done. If they bought a car, if somebody bought a car, if they're in the car business and they bought a car already, and you met them and you're trying to sell them a car, stay in front of them because their kid might need a car in a year, or they might get in an accident and they need another car.
Mm-hmm.
You just never know when something more can happen.
That's right.
Maybe that car's a lemon and it just doesn't work anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So then they need a new car.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter if they bought insurance agents. If you're trying to get their business and they decided to go somewhere else. Now, granted, insurance, they're kind of loyal in long term, but you just never know. Maybe they get a bad experience.
Mm-hmm. That's
maybe
right.
something happens. Maybe something happens in the process. Like for me, I had an insurance agent that I had, and I went with him, and when I got my first bill, it was quadruple the amount that it was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it didn't work out. But that was my first bill.
Right.
My second bill came in, it was super high. My third bill came in, it was super high too. So it just didn't work out. So you just never know who they go with. Just because they go with somebody else or do something else doesn't mean that they might not need your services. So stay in front of those people because you just never know what you get.
That's right. Yeah. Right. I had a lady who, I'd been working with her for over a year. And when she finally decided to do something, she went the new construction route, which of course meant she go with the lender for the builder. And, I just checked in with her periodically because, it took a while for that house to be built. And I just checked in. And one of the times I checked in with her, she said, well, let's do a rate comparison, and I said, cool. Okay. So we're going to look at conventional, right? And she's like, no, FHA. And I was like, well, why are you doing FHA? I already had you approved through conventional, right? Because she had a bunch of student loans. And she said, well, the lender wouldn't remove the student loan payments. So they made me go FHA. And I said, well, that's the problem right there. We had you conventional. So because I called her and checked in with her, I got the deal back, even though she went with a construction builder's lender.
Right. And it just happens. It just happens. And then you got to keep building that relationship up with no matter who you meet, because that success in the long run could be big. It could come back around. And that's why I just never give up unless they're absolutely, totally rude. Always stay in contact with people. And even if there's a guy that I'm meeting today at 3:00 that was super rude to me. You know what I mean? And he was really rude. And I kept my positive, exciting knowledge and personality going, and it changed the way he ended up speaking to me and in the way it ended up treating me. It was just, he was very short and very rude. And now I'm meeting with him at 3:00 today.
Hmm.
You know, and you just got to keep motivated. You got to keep positive, and and then even if they don't do anything today, you got to just keep in front of them. You got to keep in front of them, because a year from now, that might come around, or 2 years from now, it might come around. I'm still getting calls from flyers that I put down. I still get them every so often. I get a few a year, of flyers or something that I gave to them a long time ago, and it's fun. I love it.
I share with you my day. I would drop flyers off and things of that nature at automotive shops when I owned the Cotman Transmission, and I shared that with you. And they would come in with either the coins or the flyers, and they would. And you're right. I mean, they would. You'd be like, wait a minute, I haven't been over there in like a year and a half. It's like, where are you from?
Yeah,
I haven't been in that part of the city for like over a year, and it's
that's the first thing that I ask people nowadays. It's like, how did you hear about me? How did you call me?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it's like, how did you get it? And then they're like, oh, I think we got a flyer or a postcard. I'm like, well, I don't send out postcards in the mail, so it's something that I took somewhere. And I'm like, oh wow, that's been a while since I've been over there. You know what I mean? And it's just like, that's cool.
Yeah.
The next cool thing is the internet. I mean, I take flyers and postcards, but the internet. When people are searching you and they find you on the internet, that's even cooler.
Yeah.
You notice that I said I have an out of town buyer. Well, it's not anybody that referred me.
Right.
They called off Google.
They've called off Google. They found your social media presence.
Yeah, and it's from Denver, Colorado.
Oh, sweet.
So it was really cool. I was just like, now I didn't understand them because they spoke Spanish, but it was really cool.
Right. But that's not a problem for you, Carlos. Not in your office.
It's not in my office.
That's not a problem for you. I closed a deal with someone it probably was over a year ago, and it was a pretty good experience for him. Well, that guy who was a selling agent went on to develop hotels into condos or condotels. And he reached out recently to see if I could finance some of those people that they were doing financing on the condotels. And which, of course, I can do that. And that was all because of the experience we had, over a year and a half ago. Well, of course, I kept following up with them, just checking in to see how things were going. Now, this was the seller's realtor, mind you, right? So I kept following up with him. That's not who I typically would, but I try to reach out and talk to the seller realtors. Anyway, so he called recently trying to find out if I could finance some of those condotels, which I can do. And then he asked, can you do financing on this commercial condominium hotel that I'm buying for $4.6 million? And absolutely, I can do that as well. So following up with him, staying in touch with him, even though he was a seller's agent, over the course of a year plus, has yielded probably 53 condominium units plus a $4.6 million commercial deal. And that's just by following up with that guy, just by following up with him.
It's just ridiculous. And that's cool. I mean, if people would just keep track of that stuff, it's like, you can put in there as a referral partner, even if they don't do business, you can switch them from a client to a referral, or you can keep them as a client in there in your CRM. But man, just keeping track of that stuff, of how much people refer and how many times, how much money you get off of these people.
Yeah, absolutely. So Patty joins us, and Patty went out and touched base with some of her people, followed up with some of her people, ended up being able to help out one of her good friends who had a child that was looking to do some refinancing, helped the situation out tremendously. It was a high pressure situation. And, from her following up, she was able to help that person. You know what I mean? She was able to help them. They needed to do something immediately. And just by following up, she got that opportunity. We were able to got it done in 2 to 3 weeks. And, boy, the the stress is off of that person's back now. So, there's so many success stories. That's why I thought it would be pretty good to kind of talk a little bit about some success stories as a result of following up, because, there's a few people that do it and do it extremely well. But I think when we look at the difference between good and great, I truly think a lot of it has to do with how much a person follows up, executes, and implements.
Totally. I'm not great at. I'm not great at anything. You know what I mean? I'm just good at stuff. You know what I mean? I'm not like perfect and top notch at anything. Sales. I love sales, and I could do sales, but when it comes to following up, it's like I wish I did a ton more of follow up. If I could sit here and follow up with everybody that I do without having it automated or somebody else doing it, if I could follow up with every single person, I would get a ton of more business because that's what I love to do. You know what I mean? If I didn't have to do this computer work and paperwork and production and all the stuff that I did, if I just focused, if I built my business and that's my goal, is to build these people. And if I could put more people doing what I don't like to do, even though I have to, I would love to just sit here and follow up with people and be in front of the same people. I could go and talk to people. I could go and say, how you doing? Invite them to events. That's all I would do. If I could do it, that's all I would do is follow up with people, because that's where the business comes from, is being in front of people all the time, and even everybody you meet, because it comes around, I mean, there's a ton when I first, like I said, I think I've said it numerous times, when I first started in the printing business, and the first thing that my wife and I did was business cards. And we just started out with business cards, just because we had to start somewhere. And we started printing business cards, and it was like, how can we grow, and how could we do this if the competition is so strong online?
Right.
And how do we be free? You can get free business cards online, and my wife and I were sitting here talking. It's like, how are we going to do this if people are offering free, and we tell people what we do. I tell people what we offer. And if they want to do it, that's great. If they go somewhere else and buy somewhere else and they go and get it for free or for cheaper or for $10 or whatever, then they can. But then someday, I always stay in front of people. I always talk to people. Someday it keeps coming around. You know what I mean? Yeah. People always keep coming around. And it's like, there's some people that have bought business cards from me that didn't buy them first time. They got free ones, they got $10 ones, $9.99 ones, but then they come back and they're little or crooked or not the right words, or, they were, something was messed up in it and they wouldn't fix it, So it was the customer service that wasn't there, and so then they come back around, and it's a big thing to be able to get, business out there and be in front of people and stay in front of them and get that business later on. It feels so good.
Yeah, it really does. It validates your efforts. It tells us that what we do works, and that it's not just for naught. And so it's good because the model is what it is. It's been the way it's been. We just have to follow it. We just have to do it. And when we do that, when we're consistent, it's just going to bring business back. I mean, I just can't say it enough, man. Business drops out of nowhere. It drops out of nowhere. And that is, like you said, a great feeling to just get like the call or a text. And it's like,
I mean, I walk into my store and there's some people that I'm like, hey, how you doing? You know, somebody that I've seen before, I've talked to, and they haven't done business, but they're in my store, you know, and it's like, um, you know, Patty's like, good job. I do got to say, it's like I said, in 2011, my wife and I decided that our business cards were going to be 1,000 business cards for $69, and that's been the same since 2011, and it's never changed. Now, when in 2011, it was even worse about people getting these free business cards or $10 or
Right.
you know $20 for business cards. But when people think about it, it doesn't, like Patty says, it doesn't go on forever either. And we stuck to it, and we're like, if they're going to buy it, they're going to buy it. If not, they're not. You know, and the biggest part that they were buying from us is us. It's service, you know. So I love sticking to what I know and to following up with people that will be future business. You know, I love staying in front of people. Like I said, I'm gonna get to the point where what I love doing, and I love being in front of people and following up and future business and just keeping that relationship going.
Yeah. Prospecting is the way to be, and then relationship building is the way to follow up on the prospecting, right? That's just, the prospecting is the initial, but then we got to do some work after that. And, I think, that's what separates good to great. Jim Collins wrote that book, Good to Great, and you read that book, it's just small things. It's like the horse that wins the Derby doesn't have to be that much better, but yet their earnings may be 16 times who came in second place. But it's just the nose that took them all across the line, right? Just the nose. So,
yeah. And it feels so good when you get that repeat business and you get that future business, or you get somebody that wasn't using you before just because you kept staying in front of them. I love it. It gives me more pleasure to have that business that somebody came around realizing that I should have done business with you before, or let's do business now, or I'm ready to do business, than it does trying to get that new business every day. To me, it's just even more, it feels so much better. It feels like I've succeeded in things.
Yeah, absolutely. So cool. Excellent. Well, I won't eat up most of your day, my man. Let you get to it. We know it's the follow-up Friday. I got a lot of follow-up. I've been trying to get back on my schedule because I've been traveling so much. And
where are you at now?
I'm downtown Kansas City now.
Oh, you are?
My office is to downtown Kansas City.
Oh, you did?
I did. That's Union Station right behind me. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah.
Wow.
So I'm downtown Kansas City. I'm down in the city, in Kansas City, the beautiful downtown Kansas City, Missouri. So, yep, I moved my offices down here and really enjoy this environment. It's great. It's great.
Wow.
It's great.
That's awesome.
Patty's got follow-up. So Patty's been following up on our teacher appreciation program, and we actually started today. She had a follow-up, which was a drop-off of bagels for teachers at the elementary school in Lawrence. And we drop off bagels and flyers and let them know, hey, we have, we'll give them $500 to either them or to their school or whatever they want to do with the $500, if they get a refinance or a purchase. And so Patty's in charge of our teacher appreciation program and getting that word out and marketing that program. So today was our very first drop off in Lawrence, Kansas, 50 teachers.
So I'm kind of curious. Hashtag relationship building, babies. I'm kind of curious on, I want to follow up with all this. I want to follow up with how many people Patty hears from, or how many people that just, I'm a huge believer in dropping that stuff off in front of people. I'm a huge believer in just going and dropping off, like you said, bagels or just cookies, or dropping off flyers, or because it works. And
Yeah.
I'm a huge believer.
Well,
And
I met Tracy for Real Consulting, right? Tracy, I met her through following up and dropping off bagels. That's how I met her.
At a real estate office, right?
Yeah, yeah. And she said, "Bring fruit. I need some fruit. I don't need all these bagels." But so I started customizing and bringing her bagels and fruit, the fruit for her and the bagels for other people. But you know what? Now it's been 4 or 5 years, of a good friendship, good relationship. As a result of that, so you meet some good people and you do some good things as well. So yeah, no, absolutely. We'll get Patty said it was very early this morning. She said she's tracking it.
Yeah, thank you. Share it with me. You got to track it, and track it, track it, because I didn't track it. But I do track it because I know what I do.
Yeah.
I wish I did more tracking when I first started. Now I do it more now.
Yeah.
I know where I get my business now. But when I first started, I just went out there and dropped and dropped and dropped. But I knew what I did. I knew what flyers I've made. I know what I've done. I know where I've been. So it was a big thing. But tracking is awesome. I'd love to hear more about how that works. And then there is one. So there is one success thing, and it's small little dollar amount, but it's somebody that I met when in 2011. I joined a BNI group. I'm sure everybody knows about BNI. I joined a BNI group when I got here in Kansas. Now, before 2009, I never networked. As a network, went to a networking event like BNI.
Mm-hmm.
It was not, I didn't know anything about it before 2009.
Right.
And all I did was network my own network. I would go out, I'd meet people. I didn't go to networking events. So I didn't know there was a such thing until I got to Kansas. So I started doing it, joined BNI, and that was how I started in Kansas. I started meeting new people, and then they said, there's this group of people that have, there's usually 30 to 50 people that meet every week, and I'm like, man, I could get more people in instead of going door to door. Yeah. So I started going to this BNI group, and I met this accounting guy, and I was in his group for a little over a year or two maybe, and met him, did business with him, and then after that, once we split up out of that group, I didn't see him. So 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years goes down the road, and I haven't been training for him. I haven't been doing anything for him. I haven't seen him. And then one day I was out handing flyers out. And I walk into this building, and I'm handing out flyers to these people, and I see that name, that accounting firm, and I'm like, oh, I had no clue his office was here. So I walk in that office, and he wasn't there, and I walk in that office, and I said, well, I printed your guys' business cards before, but here's a flyer. If you guys need any printing, I'm I'm on 127th in Antioch and Overland Park. And if you guys need anything, just let me know. I make it simple and sweet when I go in there. Mm-hmm. Probably day later, 2 days later, they call us and make an order for business cards.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And then it's like, if you're not in front of these people, then it's more difficult to get that business.
Yep.
If you don't stay in front of them, they forget about you. They'll forget about you in a heartbeat, no matter who you are, unless you're building up those relationships.
Yep.
And the biggest part is now he prints more with me, but he still doesn't do as much, and it's probably because I'm not in front of him all the time.
Right.
Just 2 days ago, I I got on the phone with an old client. I got on the phone with an old client, and was it 2 days ago? Yeah, it was 2 days ago. I got on the phone with an old client, and I was just talking with them, and just had a quick question. It was something that they knew, and I wanted to call them for some advice.
Mm-hmm.
So I called them, and then just yesterday, my wife, she doesn't even know, but my wife says, "Do you have the back of so-and-so's business cards on the files on my computer?" And I'm like, it was the same people. And I'm like, so he's requesting to have some cards printed? You know what I mean? Right. So then I messaged her and I'm like, why are you asking me for the back of these business cards? And she says, because they're wanting to order some business cards. I'm like, no way.
Wow.
You know, I haven't, just 2 days ago it happened.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, you're in front of them. And I just asked them a question just for their advice, not anything about business. Yep. Then 2 days later, she's calling me for the file and she's ordering business cards. And I'm like, my good, I haven't printed these business cards in years. You know, and they ordered business cards. And I'm like, she had no clue that I called him 2 days ago, but she says they want to order business cards. So I'm like, sweet.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
You know, and it just happens all the time. And if you're not in front of people, if you're not building up that relationship, which it's hard to do when you got thousands of people, you know?
Yeah.
But if you're not in front of people all the time, then it gets, you know, they forget about you, and they will, no matter who you are.
Yep. Yep. You know? Absolutely. And it just took that to yield some business. And it's just that simple, you know, it's just that simple. It's that activity. It's the consistency, you know, and it just took that little touch. So, you know, that's a great success story. That's a great success story because
they're little, you know, it's not much business, but it's the fact that it works, you know, staying in front of people, you know. I just called this person for advice and now they're ordering. I didn't ask for an order then, you know, I didn't ask for business then. I just asked for their advice.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know?
Yep. Yep. Stay in front of people. That's key. That's very key. And that's what we do. And that's what Followup's all about. That's what Followup is all about, is just staying in front of them. You know, you say that every week, and it's so true. You know, it's all about staying in front of them, top of mind awareness, when they're ready, when they need. Because we stayed in front of them, we're gonna be the mind share, right? It's just like our compendium says that we'll own mind share. When that person is ready, we will own mind share. You know.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. So cool. All right, man. I'll let you get to your day. I appreciate you as always for sharing your wisdom and knowledge and great experiences.
I gotta drink my nasty green drink.
That looks good. That looks like it's got some spinach and kale in it. It's got some fennel, some ginger, little cayenne pepper.
Yeah, ginger and celery. Ooh.
That looks good.
I don't know what else.
That looks good. That's
Remax Beyond. Everybody in Remax Beyond is drinking one of these every morning. Like she just brought it to me. They're making it and they're giving everybody a jar every morning that we have to drink.
Do you tell Bianca I'll be by to get my jar?
Yeah. She's doing it for everybody. She's doing it. She loves it, and we're on a healthy goal. We're on a healthy goal. Everybody in the office is on a healthy goal. I'm on a 100-pound challenge for myself. I want to try to lose 100 pounds. I don't know if I can, but I'm going to do everything I can to lose it.
You'll do it. Tell her to get my glass ready. I'm coming to get my glass.
All right.
We'll see you, my man.
We'll see you.
Take care.
Yep.
Bye.